Welcome to this last edition of the Ril Dil Podcast. I'm your host, Ril Gerald Quinn, recording this on a Tuesday as I discuss the world of sports and pop culture. Episode 1053, The Alien. I'm glad to join, that you're joining me. Heavy, obviously, the NBA is at the forefront right now. Last night, you saw the beginning of what could be a series that could define the sport moving forward, at least for the foreseeable future. And, a lot of times we hype these things up and they sometimes don't deliver. But when they do deliver, you see just magic. And the game last night, where you have these San Antonio Spurs, this young, just fearless, physical, athletic team coming into OKC's building and taking out OKC in double overtime in just a game that um that's going to be one of the better playoff games considering the stakes that I've seen in a long time, to be honest with you. Um we have to begin with the performance of one Victor Wembanyama. He joined a short list of players to have 40, 20, and 3 blocks. That list is only made up of himself, Elgin Baylor, and the great legendary Hakeem Olajuwon. And last night you saw you gotta and we knew he had this in him. He is by far the best two-way player in the sport. That's not even close. Um, Finished third in MVP. Thought he probably should have been second, but you knew that last night. Um, Seeing SGA get the MVP in front of him, that there was a possibility that what we saw last night could take place. Um, I've said this the last 2 years in watching Victor Wembanyama. When he decides to go to the paint, when he decides to, you know, don't not settle on 3-point shots, even though we know he can make them. Made the biggest shot in the game was a 3-pointer that he made in the first overtime. We'll talk more about that. But when he decides just to play in the paint offensively, there's nothing that can be done. Last night, he scored 16 points in the paint. He takes 13 free throws, made 12 of them, and set the tone for the entire team. OKC, San Antonio was outscored OKC in the paint, 52-38. They were the more physical team. Their guards punished the Golden State, OKC smaller guards at times. They were consistently downhill. Um, Despite the 23 turnovers, you have a situation where they shoot more free throws, where they outscore them in the paint. Um, and again, I'm not in the least bit surprised what happened last night as far as them winning the game. You got to remember, eh, OKC has had an absolute cakewalk the first 2 rounds of the playoffs. They couldn't have a better setup to play Phoenix and then the Lakers with no Luca in the first 2 rounds. I mean, just basically two scrimmages. Those teams did not push OKC at all, minus two game fours in where the series is already decided. And, OKC was able to experiment with some things. Jalen Williams didn't play in the Lakers series. He could have played, he could have played that last game. It's like, nah, we good. We don't need him. So playing those two teams and then stepping up to a championship caliber team, to a team that was fresh off a playoff win on Friday in against Minnesota in San Antonio. I I really expected San Antonio to win that game and win that game. But if you're San Antonio, you This game was separate from what San Antonio did to OKC in the regular season. During the regular season, and I only count four of those games, really four of those games. Um, the other last game, nobody played for OKC. So, I know they went 4-1. They still won 3 out of 4. To me, they won 3 out of 4. But during those games, OKC couldn't make shots. Jalen, in terms of the 3-point shots, they didn't shoot it well. Jalen Williams, J Dub was bad, was not good. He was excellent last night. OKC made 3-point shots. San Antonio in the regular season didn't turn over the ball. Last night they had 23 turnovers and led to 28 points. So despite all of that, on the road, San Antonio was still able to survive and win a game because they have a guy right now who I'm not sure there are many answers for. There's no definitive answers to containing this, figure out stopping him, let alone containing him. And you see a guy in real time take the league by storm. You see a guy who you say, like, I've never seen anything like this. Like, you've never seen a guy that size with that agility, with that skill level, who, by the way, is a bit nasty, has an edge to him. Coming off a season where last season where he missed the last half of the season, um, with the blood clots, coming off the 24 Olympics, still probably pissed off about that, losing to the USA, finishing third in the MVP. The way you should have won the MVP. So you're facing a guy who is a little bit angry right now in a good way and motivated. He wants it right now. Like he wants the best player in the world title. He wants the championship right here, right now. And I liked how he answered the question or didn't answer the question about the best player in the world. He basically brushed it off. He didn't, that he didn't call himself the best player in the world. He kind of brushed it off, not dismissively or not disrespectful to the media person who asked it. He just kind of like, look, man, we just basically focus on this series and that's it, and handling business and that's it. Because he knows I win this series, we win this series, we win the championship. I'm the best player in the world. He understands that. Dylan Harper, uh, De'Aaron Fox doesn't play in this game, which meant Dylan Harper started. Uh, Dylan Harper in this game played 48 minutes. He plays 48 minutes. Excuse me, 46 minutes. 24 points, 11 rebounds, 6 assists, 7 steals, 1 turnover. Made all his free throws. Didn't shoot, only made 1 3. But we're talking about a rookie here who is just, I mean, you just don't see guys, you don't see rookies, you don't see too many rookies getting meaningful playoff minutes as it is. Especially guys who are um, like top picks, lottery picks, that you just don't see it. Normally those guys are on shitty teams, um, or on shitty teams, and it takes a couple of years. They're normally in a position that like Cooper Flag is in. Even a Canuple was a rarity to be on a team that was in the playing getting important minutes. This guy is on the biggest stage, and I'm telling you right now, he carries himself like a third or fourth year player. If you didn't know he was a rookie, you watch him play, you think this guy's, like I said, like he's in his third, fourth year in the league. He's physical. He like just basically bodied Chet Holmgren on one play, pushed Chet, physically moved Chet Holmgren, and got a layup. He gets downhill at will. He had 7 steals. These were not steals where he's compromising the integrity of the defense. These were steals where you can tell how studious this guy is in terms of film study. These were like, I know where this ball is going. I've seen them run this play. I know what SGA is about to do on this pass. These are anticipation where I absolutely know. One of the Reggie Miller, I believe Reggie Miller or Tariq. I think it was Miller or Crawford. I think it might even Reggie Miller said he looked like Deion Sanders out there. Well, anybody know anything about Deion Sanders? Deion Sanders was one of the smartest players, one of the most astute cornerbacks of all time. Besides all the physical gifts, like he studied film like a madman. So it just like see, I cannot remember last time I seen a rookie this ready for prime time and this ready for the moment. And even though they'll need Fox to win this series, I thought that the Fox injury actually, if Fox only misses one game, to have that missed game result Dylan Harper's confidence going to another level, that was well worth it. Like that's a that was an injury. That's an injury where again he comes back and strong for the rest of the series. That's a win for the Spurs because you're on the road. You're the point guard. You got the the best defense in basketball coming after you, and what has been the best defense in basketball the last 2 years for sure. And he didn't flinch. Did not flinch. From the Oklahoma City perspective, the obvious target is SGA. Um, you're the MVP of the league. Some people, may right now regard you as the best player in the world. You gotta figure it out. You gotta figure it out on the fly. Now, I will say this about SGA. Second half, he has 18 points. Had a big fourth quarter. Even the fact that he didn't shoot the ball well, 7 of 23, 2 for 7 from the 3-point line. He still got to the line 9 times, 12 assists, 5 steals. So he still was able to impact the game. Now it wasn't minus 15. It was a minus 15. Still able was to impact the game, even though offensively, uh, shot wise, in terms of his efficiency, he didn't have it. I'm not concerned about SGA. I'm not. He will figure it out. Again, it was going to take a game for Oklahoma City to be able to meet that level of intensity. You're not again coming playing the Lakers. I'm telling you, again, as a Laker fan, I watched Oklahoma City just toy with the Lakers. They weren't playing hard against the Lakers. They were, I mean, not going through the motions, but they were like, all right, what do we need to work on for our next series? They were not going. That was not balls to the wall for Oklahoma City by any stretch of imagination. They're down the first halves of almost all those games, and then boom, third quarter we jumping out and taking control of the game. Like they toyed with the game against the Lakers. So this level of intensity, SGA included, facing this type of defense. I give San Antonio's defense all the credit in the world for the coverages they had on SGA. They mixed up their coverages. They did not immediately double team him. They hit him with some zones, situations where all they did was cloud him and basically dare Oklahoma City uh, to beat them with 3-point shots and to take 3-point shots instead of mid-range shots or instead of paint shots. As a whole, Oklahoma City is absolutely playing into the hands of San Antonio if if half their shots are going to be, um, or close to half their shots are going to be from the 3-point line. Took 100 shots, took 100 shots in the game, 45 from the 3-point line. They did make 17 of them. They're going to make some threes in this series. We understand that to loosen up San Antonio's defense, but they were not going in the paint nowhere nearly enough. And this is you have to be, you cannot. play timid against San Antonio. You can't be afraid to get your shot blocked. Minnesota's only real true win when Wembanyama was healthy, or didn't get kicked out of the game back in that series in game one. Minnesota held their own on the boards with San Antonio, and most importantly, in that game, they had 52 paint points. San Antonio had 58, but Minnesota had 52. So they more than held their own with that. And the reason why they were able to hold their own because they actually went downhill to the paint and got inside and got in the paint. And we're not again. That's the game where Wembanyama has 12 blocks, and you can't be worried about getting your shot blocked. So if I'm Oklahoma City, obviously you have to win the non-Wembanyama minutes. You have to dominate those minutes. Luke Hernandez on the floor. This year, you have to find a way to get Wembanyama out of the paint defensively. If he's in the paint camping out, then I don't know what you do. To his credit, he did not overreact to Alex Caruso's 8 3-point shots. And Caruso was phenomenal in that game. One of the great role player performances that you will ever see. He single handedly kept them in that game in the first half, and he hit some timely 3-point shots. And defensively, making plays and probably um, had moments against Wembanyama in the first half defensively. Wembanyama, as the game went on, started figuring him out and really had his way with Caruso, especially in the paint. But did have some moments where a couple times in the first half where he did seem that Wembanyama seemed some a little bit uncomfortable going against Caruso. And then once he figured him out, started getting some deep post position, repost position. And at that point, he catches the ball inside the paint, is game over. Like even if he misses, he's gonna get an offensive rebound and go right over the top of you. The goal of this game, in a bad way, without question, the worst player on the floor, in my opinion, Chet Holmgren, and Chet Holmgren is an All NBA caliber player, and his second in Defensive Player of the Year. He's their third best player. Let's make no mistake about it. Jalen Williams is their second best player. Chet Holmgren is their third best player. Chet has got to find a pair when playing against Wembanyama. During the regular season, he averages like 10 points a game. Last night, he offensively seemingly wanted no part of Wembanyama and just allowed him, just basically took himself out the game offensively. Now he had a couple blocks defensively, had 8 rebounds, which probably is not enough. Had some good one-on-one defense against Wembanyama at times. I thought his one-on-one defense against Wembanyama was actually pretty good. But 7 shot attempts, he takes 4 of those are from the 3-point line. He gets muscled and bumped by Dylan Harper, gets his shot blocked in overtime by Vassell. Like he played fucking soft. He played a soft basketball game. Period. And if Oklahoma City has any chance to win this series, Chet Holmgren. I'm not saying Chet Holmgren has to go out there and come even close to matching Wembanyama offensively. I'm not saying Chet Holmgren needs to score 25 or 30 points, but damn, can you give me 15 to 18? Can you get 10 to 12 rebounds? Can you at least be out there with a pulse? Like he was drifting outside the 3-point line, did not want any part of the paint offensively. Like Dylan Harper should not be able to body you out the way um, and get a layup. That should be a block shot, or force Dylan Harper to kick out to pass the ball to another player, to somebody else. Dylan Harper saw him and it was like it was barbecue chicken. He's like, oh, you get out the way, little man. I mean, that's embarrassing. That's some old like rookie type. That's some shit that he was getting moved like that against Dallas a couple years ago. He still shouldn't be. This year what three? Uh, Year three for him. He missed one. I know the first year with the injury where he missed the first year. This like Chet Holmgren should not be getting moved like that by a guard, by a perimeter player. That should not be happening. So again, I don't overreact to game ones. I thought San Antonio was going to win that game. There's still again there are adjustments that Oklahoma City can make. The number one adjustment will be an adjustment in terms of force and mentality. Like now you know that you are in a dogfight. Now you know that you have to meet a certain level of intensity for 48 minutes against this team. Um, Again, I feel like this is going to be a long series. I picked Oklahoma City in seven. I'm going to stick with that pick. I understand a lot of people are jumping off the bridge. They don't. You can't bury Oklahoma City. They have a tremendous coach. Again, they will make adjustments. They will meet the intensity in game two, and I'll be shocked if they don't win game two, to be perfectly honest with you. But as of right now, the Spurs, when you look at the check marks, losing game two when Wembanyama doesn't play, when Wembanyama goes out with the concussion, you lose that. You go to Portland, win games three and four, down by 15 and down by what 19 and 15 in those games. So you cross that off, that check mark off. You go down 1-0 to Minnesota, destroy them in game two, win a tough game three, win a game five with the series tied at two. You cross that off, destroy Minnesota on Friday, last Friday. I mean, just had them shake Anthony Edwards basically shaking hands, dapping players up with 8 minutes left, which I had no problem with. Way too much was made of that. They were down by 1,000 points. Like we're gonna criticize his leadership. That was leader. I mean, the guy played basically on one leg for the playoffs. Like, I don't think anybody inside that Minnesota locker room is questioning Anthony Edwards' leadership. He was not supposed to come back until midway through that series, and he played the entire series, and he was not healthy. So, like that guy, look, he can play for my team any day of the week. I'm not questioning Anthony Edwards' leadership. They were undermanned, outclassed. But San Antonio's crossed off every check mark. They come down to Oklahoma City, send a message in game one, win a game that they probably should have won. Even without Fox, I believe San Antonio still should have won that game. Because I just think that it takes, listen, you have a long layoff like that, and the level of intensity, you just can't match the level of intensity going from the Lakers layoff and then playing a team like San Antonio. But for sure, game two, uh, they game two, you said the Thunder have to go to the paint offensively. They absolutely have to go to the paint. They they have to get into their mid-range game with the mid-range shots. I thought again, give San Antonio credit for taking SGA, not only crowding SGA, but he did not get too many good looks at mid-range shots for the most part. Did not get a lot of looks at mid-range shots. Um, they're gonna have to make threes in this series. Like Oklahoma City is going to make those guys, McCain, Caruso, Dort, a combination of those guys are going to have to make perimeter shots. Wiggins came in there, missed three wide open 3-point shots from the corner. I mean, literally wide open. Those guys, they have at some point, Dagno is going to have to make a decision. Those guys, now Caruso's fine. I'm not, Caruso, even if he's not making shots, defensively, what he brings to you with intangibles and defense alone justifies that he's on the court. the Dorts of the world, the Wiggins of the world, um, if those guys are not McLean's, if those guys are not making shots, you really don't have much use for them. Like you don't. Like those guys, they because these San Antonio guards will punish these smaller guards. McLean, Mitchell, they those guys, Dylan Harper and the Harper and Castle are brute physical guards who play bigger than their size. They play like small forwards in terms of physicality. They're going to bring the physicality to you. So they're going to have a combination of those guys um, make outside shots to justify them staying on the floor. Also, if you're OKC, so last night, very physical game from the standpoint. A lot of men's played. San Antonio had San Antonio had five guys that played at least 40 plus minutes in that game. Oklahoma City is the deeper team. And if you're Oklahoma City, you want to see Wembanyama, hey, play 38 to 40 minutes a game. You want to push him. You want to push, see if this team can, and San Antonio has depth too. But to me, you want to try to wear down San Antonio throughout the course of this series in the hope that seven that by the end of the series that takes its toll on some of these guys that have not played at that level, have not played as many minutes at that intensity in their lives. Now again, they are young. They're a relatively young team. They have young legs, but there's still something to be said about playing this deep in the playoffs. This is their first deep run in the playoffs, and that was again. They played a ton of minutes last night, a ton of minutes, and the series is going to be every other day. So again, Victor Wembanyama passed the test of stamina with an A+. Now, thought he got a little bit tired in the fourth quarter, but overtime, both overtimes, to combine the two overtimes, he goes 5 for 6 and completely just dominated, and looks like the freshest guy on the court in those two overtimes, particularly the second overtime. See if you can do that for six or possibly 7 games. Of course, tonight you have the Knicks hosting the Cleveland Cavaliers. Um, Give Cleveland a lot of credit for what they did against Detroit. Now, again, lately in the NBA, we've had more teams win on the road the past decade, especially in the 2020s. At one point, growing up, basically you have game seven at home. It was almost a lock that team would win. Um, that has not been the case over the past 5 to 10 years. Uh, Cleveland, again, Donovan Mitchell in that game was spectacular. Cleveland's talent took over, and Detroit got the most out of their particular for the talent that they have. And again, playoffs expose teams, expose players. You can get through the regular season with defense and energy and guys overachieving. That's not going to work in the playoffs. We knew Detroit had issue with lack of shot creation that came up and bit them in the ass in the playoffs. They probably should have won the Orlando series, and clearly had more talent. Clearly had more talent. Uh, Now, if Cleveland has any chance to win this series against the Knicks, they to me have to win Game 1. I think Game 1 is a borderline must win for Cleveland. Knicks have been off well over a week. Um, I played in days now. Cleveland again, fresh off, should be should be sharp as a knife coming off a series. Um, And you got to hit the Knicks first to have any chance in this series. I listen. I think I don't have any real faith that Cleveland can win this series. I think the Knicks are just playing right now offensively at a level. They're playing some of the best offensive basketball in the postseason. Now, Cleveland's bigs did play well over the last 3 out of the last 4 games against Detroit. Had a great game seven. Allen and Mobley were spectacular, along with Donovan Mitchell with the rim protection, with the made some big shots. I mean, Allen clearly outplayed Jalen Durant, who lost a ton of money in these playoffs, to say the least. But going against the Knicks, I just don't see it with I don't see it with Cleveland. I think Cleveland, number one, I think the Knicks will be able to kind of take away a lot of that 3-point shooting that Cleveland likes to do. I think the Knicks can neutralize that. Um, I think with the Knicks that the time off actually will help OG and Carl Anthony Towns. Um, the Knicks understand what time it is as far as this is their time to get to the finals. Yeah, no Boston, no Indiana. They'll have home court. Like, and I think the Knicks will go out there, and I think Knicks will really handle. Cleveland hasn't played well in the playoffs. And they got 6 losses, back-to-back game sevens. You can look at half glass, half full, and say, "Hey, they won 2 game sevens. That's impressive." But you can also look at say that again, quality of opponent. Look out Detroit. I mean, Detroit had one offensive guy at the end of the series. One. Knicks have at least minimum 3, maybe 4. Knicks have like 4 with Bridges playing the way he was playing. Knicks have 4 legitimate offensive guys, 3 that were playing at a super high level in Towns, Brunson, and OG. A little bit more depth than the Knicks have compared to the past years. So the Knicks for sure will be fresher in this conference finals than they have been than they were last year, or even or even going back to 2024 when they lost in the conference semifinals to Indiana, and they basically ran out of bodies. That will not be the case with the Knicks against Cleveland. Again, I hope I'm wrong. Hope this is a long drawn out series, but I I just don't see a pathway for Cleveland to win the series. Now, James Harden had a couple good games in the Detroit series. Was bad in Game Seven. It didn't matter because of how dominant the three-headed monster of Mitchell, Allen, and Mobley was, and you also had Merrill making jump shots. Got hot, or Strauss got hot and scored 23 points um, in that Game Seven. But against the Knicks, with the Knicks, to beat the Knicks, Harden and Mitchell have to be dominant. Like Mitchell has to be the best player on the floor. He has to be in the to have a chance, and Harden has to be in that conversation. Like Harden has to be at least like at least 18 to 20, 7 to 10 assists, minimizing the turnovers. For to have 4 games like that, or Cleveland have any chance. And I haven't seen a little more consistency from James Harden to say I look for Mitchell. Maybe Mitchell's turned the corner, and maybe Mitchell maybe Mitchell turns out to be playing the series. That's on the table. I wouldn't be surprised by that. But they would need James Harden to just be something that he hasn't been part of his entire career, and that's somebody who can come up big on the biggest stage with the pressure being the highest. 5 years, and I don't see him doing it in this particular series. So I will take the Knicks. Wrap up the program. Discussion of Drake and He, of course, came out Friday, released 3 albums. We're just gonna focus on Iceman because I frankly don't care about the other 2 albums. Don't. I understand his motivation for releasing those albums to get out his contract. Uh, and he become a free agent, and we'll see how serious he is about independence. Remember, 2022, he was also a free agent and signed the $400 million deal um, to sign a $400 million deal. So I don't know how serious Drake is. To be honest with you, about I don't know how serious Drake is about being completely independent. Um, we know this album is going to do numbers. It's on pace to sell 475,000 units, which is obviously a big number. It's not even close to being one of Drake's amongst Drake's biggest numbers. I mean, Drake has had albums where he sold one views went for 1.4 million in a week. The first week, Scorpion went for like 732,000. So 475 is for Drake. That's obviously like that's actually not good for Drake to be perfectly honest with you, but still a big number. 475 is still a big number. So I listened to the album a couple of times, and first of all, I didn't have anywhere near the expectations that came the hype with a 2 year rollout of this particular album. I think Drake is at a point in his career where he is kind of like still searching. This is kind of is searching, and frankly, is lost. To be honest, which I didn't see any evolution in this album. I saw him do a bunch of complaining. I saw him doing a bunch of finger pointing. I saw him still deep hole inside of him from that 2024 battle, Kendrick Lamar. That has he completely hasn't let that go. I saw, frankly, I saw a lack of strategy. You can tell Drake doesn't have good people around him as far as strategy because the move was to if you like if you need to go get therapy, then go get therapy. I don't know if he did, but if you need to go get therapy, I'm not even saying that jokingly. But to me, the move would have been for him to completely just move forward from what transpired in 2024. Just completely move forward. Like the shit that he's talking about on his album was basically the same shit that he's been talking about for the past 2 years and I don't know, through Twitter, through X, through Instagram, through live streams, and through just it's the same shit, different day. It's the same shit, different day. And to me, that just says somebody who just refuses, putting the battle aside, just refuses to evolve as an artist. Um, Now, there are going to be a lot of people in the industry, a lot of hip hop heads, a lot of hip hop pundits who are going to tell you how great this album was, or tell you, you know, Drake's back on top. That's actually part of his problem as far as I don't like you want to call him the top guy, you can. I don't know what that position, what that type. I don't know I don't know what it means in hip hop in 2026 to be considered the top guy, because I feel like the criteria of that is just there's really no real criteria that I see when we talk about somebody being the top guy. Is that because we can, or we trying to hang on? Are people trying to hang on to this era uh, of Drake that, to me, clearly has is gone. I think Drake has peaked. I really do. I think Drake, and again, I think Drake peaked probably in 2018 with Scorpion. That was apex Drake. That was Drake at his height. Um, and that was fine. Like, you had a run up in that point, 2000, let's say 2010 to 2018. That's almost look at his albums since Scorpion. They've been, yeah, they've been average albums at best. Been average albums. For All the Dogs, uh, Certified Lover Boy. Like these albums haven't been hitting, like haven't reached a place to where it made even Drake fans made them feel something. They're gonna be stands that support that will say that these are the three best albums that come out this year. We know how his stands are gonna move. But when you don't evolve as an artist, when you don't grow up, more importantly, as a man, then to me it comes out in your art. You can't hide it. You can't hide the lack of growth. You can't hide the lack of evolution when it comes to art. You're gonna like you can't fool you cannot hide who you are when you are an artist. You can't. You make music, your flaws, s- all your shit is gonna come out some way, shape, or form. It's just how it works. And I look at Drake. Drake is still out here talking about his money, out here want to address everything he has. And like, just like, like, what are we really do we really want to hear this shit until in 2026 from you? I understand why he comes out with music like this because there are core fans who don't care whether Drake evolves or they are totally fine with Drake making the same album over the album after album, not evolving. Um, I just thought this again. I don't think it was a bad album. I think sonically I was fine with it. Um, I just thought that the album. I just think that if you're Drake and what is the next move for you in your career? Where are you? Where are you? Who are you as an artist right now? 2026. Because he didn't this in this album he did not come off very confident. Did not come off as a confident artist in this album. To be perfectly honest with you. Now he was rapping to think want us to think that he's confident in who he is and his ability and what he can do. Didn't this album he did not come off as it came off very insecure, very just I mean beyond came off lost. He seems lost right now. He really does. Personally, as an artist, he seems completely lost. And again, y'all can go for the banana peel tailpipe if you want to with this independent shit. He had a chance to be independent in 2022, and he signed a mega deal that was worth like $400 million. That's all I'm saying. So we'll see how that works out. That's going to wrap it up for this latest edition of the Real Deal Podcast. I will see you next time. Enjoy your evening and the rest of your week. So long.